Hi, everybody. Well, surprise, I'm not at school today. So I am going to do the lesson that I was going to do at school for you on video. It's a much shorter one than yesterday. I wish I could be there though, because I'm interested to hear what you have to say, but we will touch base about this tomorrow. So I'm going to share my screen with you in a second. So will you get out your notebook, turn to the next clean, white, available page, put your name in the date, which is November 30th in the upper right-hand corner, and get ready. Oh, such exciting things. Today, we're going to talk about sparking rich discussions. So if you want to, while I'm getting this out, if you want to write sparking rich discussions at the top, nice big letters neatly, I'm going to share my screen. Where am I? Here I am. Okay. Okay. Got to go up to the, oh no, it's all the way at the bottom and I got to go to the top. Oopsie doopsie. There we go. Okay. So today we're going to talk about generating questions and ideas that spark rich club conversations, because otherwise it's going to be boring and nobody wants to be bored. But what this unit does is it hands the task of making things interesting over to you, the students. So if you're bored, it's somebody's not doing their job right, and it's not me. You guys are going to be tasked with making rich conversations. And that takes practice, and it takes time, and it takes some training, and it takes some support. So that's what today is going to be about. So if I was there, we would turn and talk for a bit about what makes a good discussion. What makes you want to be a part of something, what makes you excited, what makes time fly. Sometimes, we'll look at the clock and be like, oh my gosh, class is over. Well, how does that happen? When do we feel like that? And how can we make more of that for ourselves? So I would normally have you turn and talk right now. Maybe you can jot a few things down. I'm going to share with you. I do have notes from other things other classes have said. So we're going to just kind of have to go with that for now, unfortunately, because we're not really discussing this today. But one thing you can do is choose cool parts to discuss. And I guess one really easy way to do that is to just lean into the what surprised you. Like, oh, I didn't know that Americans spend $110 billion a year on fast food. Whoa, that's crazy. Like we talked about yesterday. Or some people said, I can't believe that people spend more money on fast food than they do on cars. That's so weird to me. Those are the cool parts to discuss. Also, groups will decide together how much to read and when to read it. Students have talk about the book. It's pretty easy to get off topic, and adults do that too. Teachers do it too when we're working together. But we do want to aim to talk about the book. We want to ask each other questions. When I say, turn and share your thoughts, some groups, and maybe you've noticed this when I walk around the room, some groups are like, and they're talking, and they're like, they get into a discussion, and other kids just share, and silence. And that's the kind of time when I walk over there and I stand there and you're like, we're done. If that's happening to your group, we're done in a matter of, 30 seconds to a minute. Something isn't happening there. And one of the things is asking questions, follow-up questions, like, do you think, it says 2000 in the year 2000, it was 110 billion was spent on fast food. What do you think the number is now? Do you think with inflation, or do you think over the last 23 years that number would have increased significantly? Hey, should we look that up? Should we take 15 seconds and try to see if we can find out what are the numbers? So asking each other's questions would really be helpful. And helping each other to decide on the topics and questions. And you can disagree respectfully. Those are all good things. Here are some other things kids in the past have come up with. Staying on top of the reading is what they meant. You don't want to be you want to be respectful to each other. Don't go ahead. Don't give spoilers. Share ideas. Be interesting. Again, this is another group said everyone does the assigned reading. You should take turns speaking. That's hard. That takes practice too. Sometimes there's one person who feels really comfortable and 2 or 3 other people who don't. And so learning how to share the mic and being like, hey, Do you have any thoughts about that? Or did you have something different that you jotted down? You know, trying to be a person who brings out other people's ideas is also helpful. Debating is fun, kids like that. So here are some of the behaviors that I'm going to be looking for and trying to help you with: staying on task, taking turns, preparing for discussion. And again, it's hard and it takes practice to do that. And sometimes you're like, I don't know, I don't have any questions. You know, sometimes it's really hard. So that's my job, is to help you build those skills. You want to make eye contact when other people are talking. It doesn't have to be like, you know, weird eye contact, like, because that's uncomfortable. But, you know, you look at a person and you look at their face, you can look away, but you should look back. You don't want to be turning your chair sideways or staring off into space or looking bored, you know, like that's no fun. No one wants to talk to that kid. Oh, here's Gogo. Do you want to visit? Come on up here. Come on up. Come on up here. Oh boy. Okay. Gogo. Geez. Now he's demanding pets. Okay. Also, you want to refer to the book. You know, if you talk in generalities, you know, that's not a strong conversation. You want to say, well, on page 62, it did say that Vlad the Impaler, you know, was, you know, and read the quote and stay in the text, right? Text evidence is really, really important. Without evidence, exactly. Okay, this is more of the same. Okay, so today, really the only teaching point is that you need to prepare. You need to prepare and you need to think carefully about your book club, and you want to make your conversations meaningful. And so the most important thing is to, you know, do the reading, notice. And right now we're really in the starting parts of a book. We're trying to notice interesting points. And so we're going to practice that really quickly right now. Okay, so in order to understand what this article, actually this piece is from the book, Fast Food Nation, that I'm going to read to you. You need to know what a car hop is. So when fast food places started, people would park their cars in these like parking spaces, and the food would be brought out to them. That was really popular back in the beginning era of fast food service. Okay, so I'm going to read aloud. You can read with me. By the end of the 1940s, the McDonald's, and again, look for what surprised you, because you're going to try to say, oh, this is interesting. What could you bring if you were going to discuss this with classmates? What would you be like, oh, that really bothers me, or that was really interesting. So by the end of the 1940s, the McDonald brothers had grown dissatisfied with the drive-in business. They were tired of constantly looking for new car hops and short order cooks who were in great demand, as the old ones left for higher paying jobs elsewhere. They were tired of replacing the dishes, glassware, silverware their teenage customers constantly broke or ripped off, and they were tired of their teenage customers. The brothers thought about selling the restaurant. Instead, they tried something new. The McDonald's fired all their car hops in 1948, closed their restaurant, installed larger grills, and reopened 3 months later with a radically new method of preparing food. It was designed to increase the speed, lower prices, and raise the volume of sales. The brothers eliminated almost 2/3 of the items on their old menu. They got rid of everything that had to be eaten with a knife, spoon, or fork. The only sandwiches now sold were hamburgers or cheeseburgers. The brothers got rid of their dishes and glassware, replacing them with paper cups, paper bags, and paper plates. They divided the food preparation into separate tasks performed by different workers. To fill a typical order, one person grilled the hamburger, another dressed and wrapped it, another prepared the milkshake, another made the fries, and another worked the counter. For the first time, the guiding principles of a factory assembly line were applied to a commercial kitchen. The new division of labor meant that a worker only had to be taught how to perform one task. Skilled and expensive short order cooks were no longer necessary. All of the burgers were sold with the same condiments: ketchup, onions, mustard, and 2 pickles. No substitutions were allowed. The McDonald brothers' speedy service system revolutionized the restaurant business. An ad of theirs seeking franchisees later spelled out the benefits of the system. Imagine, no car hops, no waitresses, no dishwashers, no busboys. The McDonald's system is self-service. So after you read something like that, and I will share this slideshow with you in Google Classroom, but now you want to think about it. Okay, before we start a discussion, we're like, what what does this make me think about when you mull this over? What does it make you wonder? Well, I'm really thinking about all of that. I don't want to take your ideas, but so let me take something a little bit more. I think I'm going to focus on this higher paying jobs, right? That's jumping out to me with this higher paying jobs, that they wanted to eliminate these short order cooks. They didn't want to pay people a lot. And why that jumps out to me is because I know I've heard in the news, and I know that there's been a lot of controversy about this minimum wage and livable wage. And I know McDonald's is always brought up with that. They employ a lot of people, and I know they have a high turnover, and I know they are notoriously not great they don't pay well. And so I'm thinking this goes all the way back to the 1940s. I mean, here we are 80 years later, and almost 80 years later, and we're having this conversation about pay. And it started with McDonald's not, really wanting to lower costs, lower prices, lower pay. And so that really jumps out at me. So that might be something I've mulled over. Now there's other things here that jumped out to you. And so as we read this history of McDonald's, we want to think about it. And it's just a couple paragraphs, but if you just blow by it, if you're just skimming over your reading or reading really quickly and you're not reading analytically, you might not have even stopped to think like, wow, that's weird. It's really weird. Like maybe this all makes sense. Maybe McDonald's is the one who started not wanting to value workers with a livable wage. And maybe it's been going on for 80 years. You want to start thinking about one line, one piece, and really think about it and unpack it. Because if you've read 40 pages and you have no jots, you're not doing this. You are skimming the surface of what you're reading, and you're not doing analytical thinking. And so, do you have to stop at every moment? Do I have to comment on all 2 paragraphs, every word of it? No, but I do want to mull over parts of it and think about maybe its application for today, or what that might mean. So what you're going to do right now, I know you have a homework assignment, you've all made your calendars, and you've already read some. So maybe you can go over and naturally think, what do I really remember from the last 2 days of reading, and mull over those pieces and start to jot in these ways, like, why does this stick out to me? What seems important to me about this? What questions arise from this? How do I connect to this? Or how do these 2 parts of this book connect to the cover, connect to what I've been thinking? And so I want you to think of a question that could spark a debate, because tomorrow you're going to have a pretty good discussion about what you've read so far. You'll have read for 3 days of your book. And so, and I have an example question down here. Is McDonald's responsible for our throwaway culture in society, or for global warming? We talked a lot about paper. They threw out the plates, the cups, the silverware. So maybe a question is like, wow, were they the first ones to start this like garbage culture of like, use a cup once and throw it away, use a wrapper once, throw it away, and use a fork once and throw it away? That's a good question to ask. So I want you to, try to come up with a few questions, but if you could come up with one good open-ended question, like, what do you guys think about this? That's what we're going to try to start to do. And it isn't easy, and it might take time. So if nothing comes to you in 1 minute or 2 minutes, that doesn't mean you can't do it. And it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means sometimes you have to think really hard. But again, you do have 3 days worth of reading to do, to go back and try to do this important thinking work, so that you can be somebody who can create interest, so that your day isn't boring. Your class discussion isn't boring, because you've created something interesting. You noticed something cool. You noticed something curious. So you want to be that kid. And that's what we're trying to do today. So I'm going to link this in Google Classroom. So if you want to go back and look at it, you can. But I wish you great luck, and I really do miss you, and I wish I was there today. Okay. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, no, not bye-bye. That's stop sharing. Okay, well, bye. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I will. Okay, bye-bye.